Hello everyone! Yay! Today is Sora TV and it is our launch party. It's so great to have you here and let's get started, shall we? So excited to do this with all of you. All right, here we go. So today we're all about setting wildly achievable business goals for 2020. Do you desire to set yourself up for a wildly successful business year? It is not about planning all the things by month. It really isn't. And I want to know how many of you actually do that, right? You're sitting there wondering what in the world you should be doing each month for the next 12 months. And I'm asking you not to do that yet. Instead, what I'm asking you to do is think about the fact that there are 7 steps every coach, healer, creative, and spiritual woman leader must do before planning out your year. Now, for those of you who are a little bit rebellious like I am, I know that by me saying you must do, you're like, F you, I'm not doing it. I'm saying must do regarding an invitation for you to get really clear and that possibly these 7 steps will actually help you. So let's continue, shall we? Okay, here we go. So, first and foremost, now before I continue, subscribe to my channel and hit that bell. That way you won't miss another video that will help you launch and scale your business as a wildly successful coach, healer, and that's right, an entrepreneur. So, wildly expansive goals help you to be your future self. Rather than sitting wondering how you will get results, you begin to actually make choices and act as if you were already in the next stage of your business. There's actually no room for paralysis to set in. You exercise a growth mindset and therefore see the possibilities are exhilarating. Your ego has no room to say, I can't do this, right? What goal are you actually too scared to admit right now? So what I'd love for you to do is take a moment and get really clear. There is a goal that you have deep inside of you, but you are way too scared at the moment to admit it to yourself, to the soul of your business, and possibly to us as a community. And so my invitation is for you to consider what is that deepest desire that you are afraid to actually admit. So, I know, for example, that there are plenty of coaches and healers who would say there's no way in the world that they would be able to completely, confidently, and successfully complete a crowdsourcing campaign. It's more than just about asking your community for money. You know that it would take time and intentionality to understand how to actually even crowdsource. And so basically, it feels like you're going to fail even before you even admit that you want to do it. So that's an example. And here is an example of a person who actually did it. So Charlotte here is an amazing coach who wrote a book, and she's been a client of mine for a while now. And she's also in the Sacred Business Mastermind. Her goal was to reach $5,000 so that she could self-publish her book. Having a wildly expansive goal helped her shift the way in which she saw herself and the way she worked. She stepped it up in beautiful ways, taking herself and her business much more seriously. Now, when I had known Charlotte, she was so deeply intentional and she had so much heart around what it was that she wanted to do and where her business wanted to grow. But the one thing that she didn't have was this wild goal that she could step into. And so finally, when she had this amazing idea and she's like, Sora, I don't know if I could do this. We took that future version of herself and we brought it forward and present to this very moment. And you know what happened? She stepped it up like a boss. She was highly productive. She was deeply committed. She showed up in her business and for her community every day, and she was able to achieve this wildly unimaginable goal. That is what we do together. So, hello, I am Sora Serino, and I work with hundreds of incredible coaches and healers all over the world to achieve wildly expansive and unimaginable goals. I've also worked with thousands of women identifying all over the world to understand sacred leadership and space holding. So, your 7 steps. Your 7 steps to creating wildly expansive business aim is also known by me as the WebA method. Step one of this method is as we cultivate, first of all, it's so important to set the energetic container in our bodies. So let's step into the vibration of our sacred warrior, the archetype within us that honors our divine mission that we can feel really moved by. As we cultivate our wildly expansive goal, remember that we are energetically making our bullseye. Our bullseye is what we are aiming for. Each small yet intentional, powerful day-to-day action you take is the act of making your arrows. The larger task you take on in the world that creates a ripple in your community are the arrows flying towards your mark. Each time you do this, it's practice and it strengthens your courage, your faith, and your skills as a wildly successful warrior and entrepreneur. Okay, so we need a wildly expansive business aim because typically we are thinking way too small, which doesn't allow for innovative, creative thinking and miraculous problem solving to occur. We keep ourselves in a box rather than breaking the box open and seeing where we could be heading. So when we think small, we are basically limiting ourselves into our day-to-day act. So what is that thing that you say to yourself over and over again in your business? Maybe it's, I just need that one client. I just need that one client. Or possibly it is, I just need to make some money. I need to make some money. Or I need to make those 6 figures. Or I have to work on my lead generation and grow my tribe, grow my community. And so there might be these things that you say over and over and over again. That is thinking way too small. Now, we can keep ourselves in a box as well. So for example, if you consider, well, I only work with X people on this particular thing, and also I do this, this, and this. So you're a healer, you do energy work, you do crystal healing, you are a life coach, you work with people on Reiki, and you're doing all of these different things, but you're putting them in separate little boxes rather than actually opening yourself wider and seeing how do they connect together to weave a tapestry of you and your medicine. Lastly, the fixed mindset means that basically you keep saying to yourself that you can't do this, that you don't know how, that there's no way that it's possible. And we want to actually move away from that. So rather than that, let's consider growth mindset, being productive and courageous. When we think greater than our own limited possibilities, we must rise up to the occasion. This is a growth mindset, and when we realize we can claim more, we work in and on our business in a very different way. We no longer work like it's a hobby, right? But rather we become a boss, killing the way we show up for our work. We're highly productive, our content is insanely good, and our fear alchemizes into courage really quickly. So growth mindset is all about being resourced, feeling like there is a solution, knowing that there are possibilities, realizing that knowledge and information can be something that you accumulate and that you can then master. When you think about productivity, all of a sudden, when you are deeply seated in understanding who you are and why you're serving, you realize that your productive levels are increasing because rather than hemming and hawing and saying, oh, I don't know what I have to do, but I have to do 10,000 different things, you're really clear about what needs to get done. And so therefore you're super motivated because you're actually highly passionate about it. And lastly, you become courageous and bold because you know that there's nothing stopping you except for your own inner belief systems. And you know that as a highly spiritual, sovereign, self-responsible being, that you can clear that pretty well on your own and in community. All right, next up, step 2. What did you learn in the past 12 months? So I want you to take a moment and write down, consider the last 12 months. Drop in and notice what feelings, lessons, and growth spurts comes up for you when you consider the last 12 months. Notice where you limited yourself and where fear prevented significant movement. Write all of these things down. Now, I'd love for you to really consider that one phrase, which is what is the fear that created a pause in significant movement forward? We take significant movements all the time. We know how to do that because we are divinely resilient creatures. And yet, in our business, I notice so many coaches and healers stop themselves and prevent themselves from moving forward in monumental, great, rapid growth spurts. So, I'd love for you to consider what were the fears that were holding you back. Step 3. How much did you actually make? So there's no judgment here, but I'd love for you to consider looking back in your past 12 months, how much did you make? This is the spreadsheet that we use in the Sacred Business Mastermind. Now, you don't have to use this particular spreadsheet. You can absolutely create your own. But what I'd love for you to consider is how much you made. Now, if you're just starting off, you're not going to know all of that. That's fine. But what I would love for you to consider are all of your expenses and where you want to go. For those of you who have been in business, I'd love for you to document how much money and what revenue you made, because what you know from the previous 12 months will help you in the next 12 months. So rather than sitting there just planning every month, let's get really clear about your finances. And this is something that we work on and talk about in the Sacred Business Mastermind. Okay, next up, step 4 in the 7-step process. Figure out how much money you desire to make in the next 12 months. Now that you've figured out how much money you have made in the past, please don't just randomly come up with a number or chalk it up to spirit. The divine does not work in the same timeline as us, so the messages that come through can't always be taken so literally. I have worked with so many spiritual women identifying leaders, and so many of them, and I get it, I totally understand, right? You sit down and you channel all this information. I do as well. But one of the things that we have to remember is that the divine's timeline is not necessarily the timeline of this 3D world. So therefore, if you're sitting there and let's say you're brand new and you say, I want to make $150,000 this coming year, that actually is quite possible. But at the same time, let's get really clear about where you want to go and with what, right? Let's be very clear about what are your packages and how much is going to be in exchange for your services. Now, if you've been in business for a while, you can triple your income, right? You can quadruple your income as long as you know the specific journey that you are taking and you're not just randomly only pulling numbers out of the ether. Okay. So, in addition to this, I'd love for you to then consider how much money do you need every month. So how much money do you need every month to cover all of your expenses? How much money do you need every month to make you feel safe and secure? And how much money do you need every month for you to feel wildly successful? Step 5. What is one offer you can provide that not only helps you achieve this wild financial aim, but also delights you? This is centered around the one area you are ready to show you have wisdom in, that you have authority in. So very often, coaches and healers, I'd love for you to raise your hand if this is you. You have no idea how much money you desire to make next year. You have no idea how much money you've actually made this past 12 months. And at the same time, you have all of these creative ideas of things that you want to do. And so when you look at your 12-month calendar and you're looking at your goals, you're just whipping up things and you're putting it in there. I want to do a group program. I want to launch an online course. I want to lead a retreat. I might want to write a book. And you're putting all of these different things down. I want to have 3 times the amount of subscribers on my emailing list. I want to grow community. I want to have a community outside of Facebook. I'd like to have 10,000 people in that community. And you're just being random about all the things. And even in your courses, you're like, I want to do an energy course, and I want to do a highly sensitive empathic course, and I want to do a course around worthiness, and you have all of these different things. Okay, let's stop there for a moment. Once you figure out your financial desires, then start thinking about your year. because you can't actually do all of those things within the year. And figure out what is the 1 to 3 things that feel deeply seated in your desire based on what you want to grow into and learn about and be initiated in. And then notice based on that, if you broke it out, how many people would you need? How much would the program or the offerings cost? And see if you can figure out a way to meet and harmonize your financial desires with your offering desires. This is how we then begin to have wildly expansive aims, but also make it widely achievable. Step 6. All right, so here is the thing. This is it. So I'd love for you to take a moment and really, really get clear on this. So I want you to fill in the blanks. My name is, in the next 12 months, I will be making. My program supports. I am devoted to this journey and vow to show up every day in honor of this wildly expansive business aim because I value. So I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to read you an example that I whipped up for you. Okay? My name is Sora Surya No. In the next 12 months, I will be making $850,000. My program, the Sacred Business Mastermind, supports coaches and healers launch and scale their business so they can achieve wildly expansive and unimaginable goals. I am devoted to this journey and vow to show up every day in honor of this wildly expansive business aim because I value spiritual women identifying leaders who are ready to claim their equitable place in entrepreneurship as wildly successful business owners, coaches, healers, and creatives. So I want you to create your own beautiful power statement here that helps you create the intention to achieve your wildly expansive business aim. All right? Okay. So, step 7. This is your last step. Now, I would say that creating your wildly expansive business aim would be the most important, but it isn't. Step 7 is the most important. Step 7 is all about sharing your wildly expansive business aim with your sisters. This causes the magic to be amplified so that it becomes achievable. Remember, we rise together by helping each other out. So it's one thing to be a solopreneur and keep all of your desires and your aims and your goals all to yourself. There's another thing to share it with your team. But honestly, when you share it with a larger group of amazing, compassionate, self-responsible, sovereign, women-identifying entrepreneurs, things happen. Miracles occur. The magic is brewing because we are all committed and we are cheering each other on because that is what sisterhood is all about. So I invite you to share your wildly expansive business aim. Now, share this goal with me by placing it in the comment section below. In addition, I'd love for you to read it out loud every day and notice the quality and the quantity of your work. You can do this by also coming into the free community that is part of our community called the Sacred Business Collective. All you have to do is go to sacredbusinesscollective.com and this is what it looks like. You get articles and lots of great quizzes and a playbook and amazing, amazing women identifying coaches, healers, and entrepreneurs. Now, when you are in here, I'd love for you to please share your wildly expansive business aim. At the same time, every day, make it a 21-day sacred practice. Every day, share your wildly expansive business aim anywhere you can. And you don't have to share all the pieces. You can share 1 or 2 of the sentences. So for example, if you don't want to share your wildly expansive revenue aim out loud to strangers at the cafe, you don't have to. But if you want to share who this is for, what your offering is, and who you are and how they can learn more, Do that for the next 21 days. Do that to the barista. Do that to the stranger that's walking their dog, his or her dog. Share with your community. Share it in your group. Share with your sister. Share it in the Sacred Business Collective. The more you do it, the more confident you will become and the more seamless it is. And you know what? This is how you gain more interest, grow your community, and then have this possibility of even strangers wanting to know more about you and your services. Oh my goodness, doesn't that feel delicious? So these were the 7 steps every coach, healer, creative, and spiritual woman identifying leader must do before planning out their year. Once you have your wildly expansive business aim, then planning out your next 12 months is actually very, very simple because you know your offering, you know your revenue goal, and you also know why you are doing what you're doing. You know your values and your belief. So therefore, then planning out each month makes it so much easier. And then your 12 months is set, and all you have to do is use that as a compass to guide you. Now, you may pivot, and that's totally fine, but at least you are rooting your foundation of your business in for the next 12 months. You are placing the seeds in with your intention as to where you want to go because now you know where you were. Goals can only be set when you know where you were so that you get clear as to understanding where you want to head. All right, my loves, that was today's launch party. I hope it provided you with a lot of information. Remember, like this if you enjoyed this. Please subscribe and hit that bell so that you can get a reminder every time there's a new Sora TV episode. And please leave comments below because the comments help me understand what you are learning and how I'm better supporting you. So please, those comments are really valuable and I will make sure to always reply. If you have any questions, please make sure that you place them, in the comment section, and I look forward to continue to serve you in this way for Sora TV. Next episode will be with you and for you next Tuesday. All right, my loves. Bye for now.